Okay, here's a card trick that I call the old Spin-A-Roo. I mostly call it that because, well, I haven't thought of anything else to call it. You'll see what I mean. Take a borrowed deck if you want. Doesn't have to be, but you use a borrowed deck and give it a good shuffle. Your spectator can shuffle. They can cut and get it mixed up all they want to, like this. What you're going to say is, I'm going to have you select a card from the deck. But I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to start putting cards on the table, not like that. I'm going to start putting cards on the table until you say stop. I'll show you what I mean. I'll go like this. You'll say stop at some point. And when you do, that will be your selected card right here, okay? Unless you change your mind, or if you want to go a few more down or a few back, it doesn't matter. You have a completely free choice. And they'll say stop somewhere. Let's say they say stop there. Did you want that one or did you want this one? It doesn't matter. You like this one. Okay, so I'm going to show you that card. Don't show it to me. I want you to memorize it, burn it in your memory so you don't forget. I'll put it on the camera like this so you guys can see it. You won't know the card as the magician, by the way. They have a free choice. And say, here's what I want you to do. Put the card right back where it was. We're going to put these cards right back on top of it. Now, if you're paying close attention, you could see that I may have done something a little sneaky already, because we put your card back in the deck and I put these cards back on top of it. Now, if I happen to be counting those cards with my genius mathematical brain, then I would know where your card is, because all I have to do is count down to that number. But two things are wrong with that. One, I don't have a genius mathematical brain. And two, we're going to cut the cards like this, making that impossible. Go ahead, cut the cards yourself. You'll see what I mean. When you cut the cards, there'll be no way for us to know the position of your card. You chose a card at random, and then we shuffled and cut the deck. Now I got to try and find it. But before we do, I want to make sure that your card is still in the deck, because I am still pretty sneaky. I'm going to spread the cards, and I want you to take a look at the whole deck, and make sure your card is in there. I'm going to spread out each one like this so that you can see. I'm going to make sure there's nothing covered up. Make sure I didn't sneak. Somewhere in this deck is your card. I want you to verify that. I'm not going to look at what you're looking at. Just let me know if it's there. And if it is, go ahead and scoop the cards back up. And they can do that. They'll scoop the cards back up like this. And then go ahead, put them face down and shuffle one more time. They can do that. So remember now, you chose one totally at random. We put it back in the deck and then cut the deck to lose its position. And then we made sure it was still in the deck before we shuffled them up again. At this point, it would be absolutely impossible for me to not only know where your card is, but what your card is. And yet, somehow I'm going to do something amazing. Here it is. I'm going to go through the deck and see if I can find your card, just by picking up on the mental vibrations I'm getting from your thought. Aha, I think I have found it already. That's how good I am. Now, wouldn't it be a pretty good trick if I just showed you this card is your card and then we call it good? No, that's too easy. I'm going to do something a little more difficult, something I call the old Spin-A-Roo. I'm going to take your card, and I think I've practiced this, so I think I can take this card, which I believe is your chosen card, and put it exactly in the middle of the deck just by feeling about where half the deck is, right there. I'm going to push your card into the middle of the deck. Remember your card now, because I have to try and find it. Now, I can't just pull it out. I have to do something, like I said, I call the old Spin-A-Roo, and it looks like this. We give the cards a cut and a spin. Now, I know that this looks messy. To the untrained eye, it looks like I'm doing something completely messy and unprofessional, but what I'm really doing is something highly skilled. Doesn't look like it, but watch this. If I reach inside this mess and pull out one card from it, that one right there, for the first time in all of this mess, would you name your card? And they will say their card, the Ace of Spades. No, the Ace of Hearts. Yeah, there it is. Ace of Hearts, the one that I found. All right. So that is just a simple card trick that you can do with almost no skill, almost no sleight, a little bit of sleight actually, but they're super easy ones. And I'll show you how to do it. So this is it's kind of a key card trick. Yeah, it's kind of a key card trick, and then a little bit of a silly little cut. I'll show you how it works. First of all, the cards are completely shuffled and cut. All that's true. You want them to be able to select a card at random. Now, what I did was something, the first thing I did after the cards were shuffled, when I got them back. And they did something called a glimpse, and I glimpsed the top card, which looks from your angle like this. And I say, I'm going to have you choose a card. You can see this looks completely normal, but what I'm actually doing is I'm glimpsing the top card. In my case, right now, it's the 9 of hearts, and I'm going to use that as a key card. If you look at it from this angle, extremely exposed and exaggerated, I'm looking at that index when I'm holding the deck like this. I'm going to have you select a card. And all I did was look down and I saw that 9 of hearts index. So now I know my key card, I know the top card. And just as an extra convincer, I also went like this. Okay, well, I want to make sure the cards are shuffled. So I just did that retention shuffle, which I've done in so many of my videos. Why not? It's so much easier. It's so easy to do, and it just solidifies the fact that the cards are shuffled. And I really am just retaining that top card that I want to use as a key. Okay, so all that's happened, we've shuffled the deck. I've glimpsed the top. We've given another quick quote-unquote shuffle, and now we're going to have them select a card. And here's what happens. You'll notice that I'm putting the top card down first, of course, which is my key. So my key card is actually going to be on the bottom of this pack, if you hadn't figured that out already. And they can say stop anywhere they want. Let's say they stop right here. They're going to look at this card. So in this demonstration, let's remember their card as the 8 of spades. They put it back on top of the deck, and you make a big deal of saying, now, your card is right there. Let's put this packet on top of here. Now, you don't have to look at it because I already knew what the top card was. I already know that my key card is the 9 of hearts because I looked at it ahead of time. I don't have to go like this. That'd be dumb, right? So all I'm saying is put your card back where it was. Let's go like this and say stop. Now, I say to them, you'll notice I just did something pretty sneaky. I just put the cards right back on top of your card. If I was counting them, I'd know where your card is. All I'd have to do is count down and find your card. I did this trick actually for a layperson, and that's what they said to me. They go, hey, all you got to do is count the cards. So that's how I know people can catch that. And that's why we say, but I'd have to be pretty smart to do that, since I'm not. And we can do this. If we cut the cards, and have the spectator do this if you want, now I really can't find it. Well, I don't need to. I don't need to know how many it is, how many down it is, because I have a key card. And I'm remembering the 9 of hearts. Anyway, they can cut the cards. You can make them do that or have them do that. Have some fun with that. Okay, no matter how many times they cut the cards, it's just going to make it worse for me to try and find it. But let's make sure I didn't do something sneaky anyway and sneak your card out of the deck when you weren't looking. And what I'm really doing, of course, is the classic key card, revelation for me. I need to know what their card is. So I'm really looking for the key, which is the 9 of hearts. And when I find it, I just quickly look at it. I'm actually, when I do this, a lot of times, when I'm spreading the cards like this, and of course I'm looking for my 9 of hearts and I just found it. When I notice where it is, and in this case it's right here, so I know that their card is the 8 of spades. While I'm spreading these out, I'll have a tendency to spend time on the other end of the deck. Say, let me make sure you see all the cards. So it puts the heat, so to speak, on the other end of the deck. So I don't want them to think I found it, right? Okay, and then I'll maybe go with this end, because I already know what it is now. Once I've found my key card, I don't even need to keep looking at the deck. I already know now what their card is. I know it's the 8 of spades. So now I can say, okay, gather it up. And I can tell them, go ahead and cut them again. And here's some psychology. Go ahead and shuffle them again. If you say shuffle them again, that just makes it feel like we've been shuffling them. And we actually haven't been. We've been cutting them. If you say go ahead and cut them again, go ahead and shuffle them again. And as I shuffle them again and again or whatever, it doesn't matter because I already know what to look for. I'll be looking for the 8 of spades. I can forget about the key card now. All right. So anyway, we've gotten to this part where they've shuffled the card. And I'm going to go through and see if I can find their card. What I'm really going to do when I go through and I find the 8 of spades, I'm going to put it on the bottom of the deck right here. It's going to go to the bottom of the deck. That's easy to do because as I'm going through like this and I say I'm going to find your card, I'm going to find your card. As soon as I get to it, and I haven't yet, it's way up here, I'm going to take it and I'm going to move it to the bottom of the deck. And when I do, I'm going to say, oh, I think I found your card. I'm just going to take a different card out. I think I found your card right there, but I'm not going to show it to them. This is not their card. The 8 of spades I put on the bottom. Okay, you see that? But I pretend like I found your card and say, that wouldn't be a great trick just to throw the card at you. We shuffled the deck, put it back in, I go through and find it. That's not interesting. What would be interesting is if I did the old Spin-A-Roo, which looks like this. Now I'm going to take their indifferent card and I'm going to put it anywhere in the deck. Obviously, it doesn't matter. That thing about getting it exact in the middle, that's just nonsense, just a bit of a distraction. Because what I really want to do is this move. I'm going to pick up the deck and I'm going to spin it around and find their card. And here's how it works. Since their card's on the bottom of the deck, and I pick it up, I'm going to do this. I'm going to cut the cards. And by the way, it's going to be much easier if you can do a cut like this. This little, what's this called? This little swivel cut thing, all right? So if you can you hold the deck like this and you pick it up, you know, it's this cut. It's really common cut like this. That's all we're doing. But we're going to do it this way. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to go like this. And then I'm going to put my fingers on the bottom of the deck, okay? I'm going to do that slowly because I think this could be confusing. So we start here. When I pick up the deck and I do this little cut like this, I'm picking up and I'm putting my fingers like this. As soon as I do that, I'm going to start spinning the cards. I have to do it all in one move. But for the tutorial, I'm going way too slow, right? And that's why it's kind of falling apart. So let me show you that in real time. This is not as hard as it looks, believe me. So their card's on the bottom of the deck. We do this little cut like this, and we do this all at the same time. Now, all I did when I cut, I kept my finger right there on the bottom card. And I'm making a big deal about the mess that I'm making. And I go through and I make this big mess, and now I got to reach inside somehow and find your card in the middle of this mess. And all I'm doing is I'm going to the card that my finger there is holding, as you can see. I can feel that card like that. And I want to pull out, make it feel like it's a little bit hard to pull out, like it's stuck in the middle. I'm just holding it with my finger. Pull it out and put it over here, okay? So that's kind of hard to teach on video, I just now realized. So if I do it again, but let's see if we can do it this way. Again, their card's here. When we do this cut like this, watch these fingers. I'm going like this, and I'm going like this. I'm doing this in exposed view. That's all I'm doing. This is what happens on the underneath. On top, it looks, it looks messy, as it should. And if some cards fall on the table, that's great. You want it to look like a mess. Like the messier and bigger, I think the better. Because no matter how messy and big it gets, underneath, I can feel my finger. I'm using my middle finger to feel where their card is. So when I go and grab one, I'm just grabbing that one. And I don't just pull it straight out. I kind of act like I'm fishing around, and there's one I pulled out, and then there's their card. Okay, so that's the way I just did it in the demo on this video. There's other ways to do it. I'll show you a couple other ways. So again, bottom, go like this, and you're good, right? All one big move. Don't break that, and then you'll be able to get it. Another way to do it is to not hold it in your hand. I don't know if this is as good, and this is something I'm kind of working on, so it's a little bit of a work in progress, so you may have to figure out a better way. Instead of picking up the cards after you've put their cards somewhere in the middle of the deck and say, I'm going to do the old Spin-A-Roo, rather than doing it in your hands, you could actually do this. You can just start spinning the cards on the table. Now, this is easier to do. I'm not sure it looks as good, but I'll tell you why here in a minute. But you can just spin these for a while and make a bit of a mess so that you give the impression that you're just going to reach inside the deck and pull something out of the middle. Well, you're really not, because no matter how many times you do this, that bottom card is still on the bottom of this mess. And when you reach inside, you can lift it up like this and just pull one out. Well, the one you're pulling out is just right there because it's on the bottom, right? So, but they don't think that way. For starters, they have no idea their card's on the bottom anyway. If they knew that, they would have already been amazed. How did you get it there? So you don't have to worry about that. But this mess is distracting, so you can just reach inside, and again, since it's on the bottom, and just act like I'm pulling one out. There, I found one. Looks like I pulled out a random card, and of course I pulled the one off the bottom. So that's another way to do that if you don't want to do it in your hand. To be honest with you though, I think it looks better in your hand. Maybe it doesn't. You guys can tell me in the comments if that's working. So when it's on the bottom like this, and you go like this and give it a spin, I feel like those moves kind of help it look a little bit more mixed up, because we're really cutting the deck actually. And when we cut the deck, I'm holding that position. and then again reach inside, and I act like I'm, you know, trying to pull one out of the middle. I'm really just reaching for whatever my finger's touching here. There's one like that. Okay, and finish that mess if you want, and go, what was your card again? 8 of spades. Okay, so just a little something I've been messing around with. And so it's a combination of two things. One, it's a combination of that key card method. It's a good key card method, because normally when you think of the key card and somebody picks a card and then you have them put it back, you look at the, you know, you look at the key card. In this case, you don't have to look at it. You look at, you prearrange it. You look at it ahead of time. You know, the top card. So right now I'm looking at the top card, and now my key card ends up there. So when they put their card back in the deck, your key card is on top of it. That's just a good little, you know, kind of a countdown key card method. So you're not looking at the cards. It looks like you've never looked at them, and that helps hide the key card secret. And then this, you know, making the bottom card appear somewhere out of the middle of the deck. It's just that, you know, that little side cut like this. I forgot what that's called, but anyway, when you split the cards like this and you do this, I'm doing this all in one move. Like I said, I'm cutting them and I'm putting my finger here and spinning them all at the same time. And I think when you do that in one fell swoop, it just looks confusing enough to add to the mystery. Say, because we put it in their head that their card's somewhere in the middle. They're convinced of that. But when we go like this and we go like this and we make a mess, which is surprising too, so that's always good. Say, now look, I'm going to mess up your card so bad. I got to be able to reach in here and find it. Very easy to find. I actually pulled it right off the bottom like this, boom, and there it was. Okay, I think you get the point. But like I said, this is a work in progress. Some of you in the comments, you've had some great ideas of card demonstrations that I've done, and you've put some ideas in the comments that are just really, really better ways to do some of these tricks. So I'm kind of anxious to see what your ideas are for this. If you can think of a better way to do that, or a better way to find the card in the first place, feel free to play with that and share, and you know, let me know what you think. I'm calling it the old Spin-A-Roo because that's what it is. It's the old Spin-A-Roo. Have fun with that one.